All right, welcome back, everyone, inside the TriX57.com studios at the Playground Pier. This is Double Jab Podcast, Double Jab Boxing. Rich Quinones alongside Rob Scott. And, of course, we're powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Good stuff from Steve Smoger, talking memories, Atlantic City. And I think we got another good guest on the line as well, another inductee in May. And that, of course, is Michael Spinks. And Michael, kind enough to join us. Michael, Rich Quinones, and Rob Scott, how you been, pal?
I've been pretty good.
We appreciate a couple moments, and first question off the top of my mind, I'm just curious, you know, what are some of the memories of having to fight down Atlantic City? I mean, you've had some of those big name fights, you had a ton of fights down here with a ton of success, but what fight or what memory stands out the most?
Well, let me see. A fight with the white Muhammad Qawi. And let's see, Yaki Lopez.
Great fight.
Yeah, of course. I try not to remember the fight that I had with Mike Tyson. I try to not to remember that, but I do remember that. I remember all the fights I had now.
Well, you've had a lot of memories, and tell me how it felt when you found out that you were inducted into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Even though you've been inducted elsewhere, but at the same time you've fought a lot of fights here, a lot of significant fights here. How did it feel being inducted into this Hall of Fame?
Well, it's an honor to be inducted into the Atlantic City Hall of Fame. I have a lot of fond memories of Atlantic City. I had to go there a lot with my baby's first baby's mom, and she loved Atlantic City, and I grew to love it going down there as many times as I have.
I'm wondering, I always look at, I mean, obviously your career as a pro was remarkable, and I still remember too, I mean, I'm dating myself with the Johnson fight, and I think you said afterwards when you knocked him down to Marvin Johnson, if he came back up, I knew I was in trouble. But I look at, you had such a storied amateur career, and I have this argument all the time. 76 Olympic team, 84 Olympic team. For my money, give me the 76 Olympic team. I mean, what did it mean to be a part of that group?
Oh, man, it meant a lot, you know. It meant a whole lot. We had a lot of good guys. Winning tournaments, the National Golden Gloves, and, you know, it's a lot of fond memories of that.
I mean, I think everyone won a gold medal.
Oh, yeah. All the guys that I was with in Montreal, especially with my brother Leon.
Yep.
That was an honor and a privilege to be on the same team with my brother. So I always wanted us to do well in front of our fans, boxing fans, and it was real nice. And I really enjoyed being on that team. With Ray Leonard and Howard Davis and Big John Tate and Leo Randolph.
Yeah, Leo Randolph won a bantamweight title, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, you like you said, you won the gold medal with your brother, but when you became professionals, let's face it, his career, you know, basically went, you know, to a different level when he beat Muhammad Ali. How much of pressure was it for you to basically, you know, compete with his star?
To compete with who?
To compete with his star. In other words, you know, people knew Michael Spinks, or shall I say Leon Spinks, because of his fights with Muhammad Ali. As far as Michael Spinks becoming a star, how hard was it, or, you know, how did you feel about competing with your brother from that angle?
No, I didn't see, there was no competition between me and Leon, but Leon, we both fought our butts off, so, but it was always a thrill to be a part of anything that Leon was a part of, and I was just glad to be there.
Do you still follow? Sometimes when you talk to boxers who've been retired for a while now, some of them they don't follow the fight game as closely. Some of them maybe have gotten soured on it. Maybe the careers didn't end the way they wanted to. They got tired of the politics and whatnot. But do you follow the state of boxing? I mean, and if so, are you more engaged in certain divisions? Like a lot of people have their own thoughts on the heavyweight division, but do you follow the sport closely now?
Not really. Not really. No, I don't. Not really.
Well, Michael, when you fought Larry Holmes for the heavyweight championship, you weighed 200 pounds. By modern day standards, that's cruiserweight limit. But nowadays, the heavyweight champions and some of the fighters that fight nowadays, Deontay Wilder is what 6'6", 200, and
sure.
Joshua is 6'6" and 250 pounds. How do you think, or shall I say, would you had taken the leap to heavyweight and taken that chance to fight them if they were in Larry Holmes' shoes?
If I was in Larry,
if you had to face those bigger guys, because Larry Holmes was actually 6'3", and when he fought you, he was like 220, 223, I believe, when he fought you. Nowadays, fighters are like 260, 250, 6'7". Would you had taken the leap to fight one of those guys to become heavyweight champion, as you did with Larry Holmes?
Well, I'm sure I would have. My promoter, and Butch Lewis, I'm sure he was a good matchmaker. I found in being with him, he was a good matchmaker as well as a good promoter, and I would have. It had been fine. It had been all right. I think I would have. I think I did well. I think I fared well. But Butch was also a matchmaker, and he felt that I could have beaten Larry Holmes. That's why he made the match. But I'm sure that he would have found a place for me to compete against some of the guys today. I'm pretty sure he would have.
I'm curious too, because I think it only took you, and correct me if I'm wrong, a handful of fights, maybe 16 fights before you got a shot at the WBA heavyweight title. Is that correct? And I know you won it in '81. I mean, first of all, the culmination of that, having an opportunity to fight for a title after only 16 bouts under your belt, which it's somewhat a rarity, especially back then. But how about the opportunity to fight Muhammad for that title, and what did that mean for you back in '81?
Fight Muhammad.
Yeah, back in '81.
81. When I fought Eddie Mustafa.
Yeah.
Eddie Mustafa. It was about that time. Leon had beat Muhammad, and I hadn't fought for the light heavyweight championship yet, as of yet, but I got my chance, and it was pretty good. It was a pretty nice fight when I fought Eddie Mustafa. But he was a dangerous man at the time, so I had to be on my P's and Q's when I fought him. But it was a thrill. I had a good time. I was destined to win because I had been around for a little while, and it was a thrill. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fight.
Now, Michael, you said that it was a thrill winning the light heavyweight championship. Take us back when they said a new heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Spinks. What went through you?
That was a great feat for me to become the heavyweight champ. I never thought a day in my life that I would ever fight for the heavyweight championship as a light heavy, and when I did, it was strange because I never dreamt a day that I would fight for the heavyweight championship. But when I did, I didn't know if I was qualified. But Butch was a good promoter, and he matched me up with Larry, and it was a thrill to get in there with him.
Well, take us through. I have a question as far as take us through Eddie Futch telling you and Larry that he's going to be, he's going to step back and he's not going to train either one of you guys. How did that make you feel? And I know Larry thought that Eddie should have picked him, but Eddie didn't pick anyone. How did you feel when Eddie just made that decision?
I couldn't hardly hear that, what you said.
How did it feel when Eddie Futch decided not to train either you or Larry Holmes for that fight? Larry had a problem with it where Larry thought that Futch should have picked him, but Futch chose not to pick either one of you guys. How did that make you feel?
It didn't make me feel any way, form, or fashion. I knew what I had to do. Eddie Futch was a good trainer, but it didn't matter. Eddie Futch, he never got in the ring to help me fight, in terms of. But it was all right. It was all right with me. I understood what he was doing. He was the trainer for both guys, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Hey, Michael, I know we got to start wrapping it up, and we always appreciate the time. Just one more quickie for me as we start to close it out. When you fought, a lot of people, we always call it the heyday of boxing, even in the 70s, 80s. Everyone fought each other. They never ducked. They never vacated belts. They did what they had to do. We don't see that all the time now in boxing, but when you were able to do that, and it seemed like you were defending belts, you were fighting who was right in front of you. To me, that kind of takes a certain type of boxer, does it not? A guy who wants to fight the best consistently and constantly.
Say it again.
When you fought these guys, as we start to close it out, it's as though you never really ducked anyone, and sometimes we haven't seen that over the last several years in boxing. Did you take a lot more pride into just fighting who was ever presented in front of you, just fighting the fight, knowing that, okay, I have to fight these guys, this is who I'm going to fight, I'm not going to back down?
Well, it didn't matter. I was in boxing to fight, the best, and whoever I got put in front of me, my aim was to try to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds simple enough, and you did a pretty good job of it. So
Yeah, he did a great job. He did a great job. He's actually one of, like I said, out of all the inductees, he's, I challenge anyone to say that he doesn't deserve to be
sure,
there.
The body of work.
Yep,
the body of work. I'll argue with you next time over 76 and 84 Olympics. Still the 76 team, still the better squad. But listen, I know we got to let you get out of here. We appreciate a couple moments. Congratulations for the induction, and hopefully we'll see you in the springtime.
All right, thanks so much.
All right, you got it. Michael Spinks joining us for a couple of moments. Rich Quinones alongside Rob Scott. Again, we're at the Playground Pier inside TriX57.com studios. This is Double Job Podcast. We'll come back on the other side. We'll put a bow on this Wednesday's edition.